when you come in. Please wait. Greetings. How are you?
I am well, thank you. How are you?
Good. You look beautiful.
Oh,
I'm
thank you
well. You
very
look
much.
beautiful and radiant.
Thank you. It's been a long day, but it's been a good day. And thank you for inviting me to share with you on this platform. I really appreciate you.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing with us. I'm so excited. I'm so honored to have you on our platform.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm honored to be here too and to share with the Strictly Queens. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Everyone that's in here, please say hi. Tell us that you're here so we can greet you. And yeah, cool. All right, cool. I just wanted to say, how have you been? How's your day been?
My day's been really good, actually. I do quite various different jobs, so I've been working today, but I did get some time to go into nature, went and laid some offerings, went with my daughters, and we just had a good experience. So I feel charged, actually. I feel in a good place.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Everyone, let us know if you can hear us good, and if we're good to go. Amazing. Just give us a thumbs up if you can hear us clearly. So yeah, when I usually do Instagram lives, I haven't been on here for a little while. I usually play a quick game.
Okay. Cool.
I just play a quick game. It's called Guess the Song. So I'm gonna play an instrumental from 3 songs, and you can give a good guess to see if you got it. I tried to go all range out, so
Okay, cool.
Cool. And no one help in the comments, it's not allowed. All right, cool. So the first song, I hope my speakers are working.
Badu, On and On.
Yes. I would have been concerned.
I glitched for a minute, you know.
I would have been well concerned if you didn't get that one. All right, cool. So someone hold the scores. So the second one is let me play the second one. Cool.
Could You Be Loved by Bob Marley.
Oh, that was quick.
Come on.
Yeah,
I'm ready. I'm here.
I really thought that one was going to be quite hard.
No, listen, I'm a Rasta. I got that.
Okay, cool. The next one is a little bit different. It's from the 90s, so I thought, let me just switch it up.
Okay. TLC Waterfall.
Ooh. Okay, cool. All right, cool. I'm really poor at this game. I thought that I picked some really hard ones. Obviously not. All right, amazing. You did amazing that round. Okay, cool. Let me start. I'm just going to introduce Strictly Queens and what we do, and then I will introduce you, our special guest. So anyone that's new in here or doesn't know what we do, my name is Ukela. I'm the founder and creator of Strictly Queens, which is this platform that is designed to assist Black women on their life and healing journey. We put on annual events around London, sacred events for that kind of trigger self-work for Black women to go away and look deep within themselves. We're also a platform that celebrates and loves Black women all year round. So yeah, that's a bit about what we do. And we have an amazing special guest. Please let me know if I say your name right. Amenti. Is it Amenti? Okay, cool. Amenti. Amazing. We have an amazing special guest who I personally love. I am honored to share this platform with her right now. I just want to speak a little bit about my experience when I kind of got to know about you and just how I came across, obviously I came across you on social media. Social media can take you to like someone's grandma page and you're deep down. 153 weeks deep. So yeah, so I kind of came across you on social media, and I genuinely thought it was like a really I was going through a really strange time in my life at that time. I was just in a really traumatic situation, and there was like an endless circle that was just going on and on. And I came across your page and I instantly felt a really high vibration from it, even though it's social media, just the work that you put out, the work that you do, it was just amazing. And then I just decided to contact you in terms of a clarity call. And that was amazing. Like, so that really like shifted a lot of my perspective this year. You literally gave me clarity in that one call. I was very hesitant at first because I'm very selective with what I share, but I felt like I didn't have to share much. You literally just picked up on my energy. You literally spoke from your heart, and it just clarified so much for me. And that's why I feel like I'm so honored to share this platform with you. It really inspired me. It made me feel like there's actual real women out there doing the real work, where our ancestors are really channeling their work through certain individuals. And it just, yeah, it definitely showed. So that's how I came across your page. And yeah, since then I've just been loving, I've always just been supportive. I'm just really here for it.
Bless you.
Yeah.
Oh, good, thanks, sis. I appreciate your testimony.
So I just would love to hear a little bit about what you do, separate from what I know. What is it that you do? What services do you provide? A little bit about your journey and how you got from where, like, what stage of your journey you're at now and where you were before. Feel free. I'm here with an open heart.
I say. Well, thank you. First and foremost, if you don't mind, I'd like to just do a little prayer and just do a thanksgiving to the Most High and pour some libation for our ancestors, because we are nothing without the divine source, and we are all here, you know, sharing in that energy. So I just want to share a prayer with you all so that we can connect and, you know, hold a proper sacred space.
Amazing.
Right.
Thank you.
So, divine creator of all there is, ancestors, guides, beings of light, those who love us unconditionally, Mother, Father, God. We come in humble, heartfelt prayer this day, first and foremost to give thanks for the gift of life, for the gift of breath, for the gift of our beautiful bodies that house our spirit. We thank you for the gift of health and wellness, peace of mind this day, and we give thanks for the gift of love. Divine creator, divine ancestral mothers, ancestral fathers, thank you for bringing us together in this sacred space. I ask that you speak through me this day so that we can share the wisdom and insight that is right for the people that are listening. I ask that you put a circle of protection and love and light around us. Surround us in your love, compassion and mercy, and allow the words to touch each and every soul that comes into this space and each and every soul that will hear it after. In this changing times, as we're going on this journey, we are being called to have a deeper relationship, not only with ourselves, but with all aspects of ourselves, our ancestors, our higher self, and also the divine source that runs through us. So I give thanks for this opportunity to connect, and in the name of divine love, divine power, divine peace, and divine wisdom, I give thanks. Amen, amen, amen. Ashe.
Lovely. Thank you so much for sharing that. That was lovely. I've never had that on our platform before, which I think is amazing. I think that is so important. Usually when I have my events, my mom's the first to open up the ceremony.
Which is proper and correct, because I come with the spirit of the ancestral mothers, the ancient mothers, and obviously you as a Black queen, and obviously the brothers and sisters on this you know, in this space with us. We all hold that ancient code within us. And as much as it seems like we're going through trials and tribulations, we're here to call on that strength and that power and that history and bring change in this time. And that's exactly where we are right now in our journey. We're in the time of change. We're looking to have a deeper connection with ourselves, a deeper connection with the ancestral powers, the forces of nature ultimately to understand the divine within ourselves, and for us to express that in this world through our purpose, through our passion, through dealing with our generational curses, by being the active change. And so I come in that energy, and I meet you all in that energy. I meet your souls and your higher self in that energy, and through the highest vibration of the purest love. So that's what I want to say first and foremost, because we are nothing without that foundation.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. I really welcome that into our space. I do.
Okay. So you asked a lot of questions, so I'll just try and remember what I can remember. But obviously, this is a discussion as well. So, who am I? I am Amenti, the Awakener, and I've been through many evolutions, but that was the name that was given to me by Source when I was 30. And I always had a knowing that I was going to transition when I was 30, that a part of me would die and that a new part of me would begin. And so that takes me to my beginning. When people ask me what's my first memories, my first memory is actually of observing the womb and watching not only my great grandmother, who I'd never met before, but also these energies, these tall energies of beings cultivating this spiral of light in my mum's womb. And I remember that I came into my mum's into my physical body just after I was born, and that was one of the first memories that I had. And in my mind at first it was just, you know, like maybe a past life or experience or something that you think in your mind. But as I grew up and I became more aware of certain things, I did ask my mother, you know, what was my birth story like? And I didn't cry when I was first born. They weren't sure if I was going to make it, so that helped me to understand that and confirm that truth. I want to say that I was born awake and aware because I always knew of the connection with the Creator. I literally came in with a part of myself that was with God and that spoke to me through everything. I felt like I was an alien in this world, to be fair, because I just had such a deep connection with the source, literally narrating through my every experience. My connection with the Creator was very intimate, and I had to learn how to get used to being around people and understanding what this life was like from a very early age. I always had natural talents, so which became aware to my family and friends from about age 3 or 4. I would just say things to people, things that I shouldn't know, things about them that I shouldn't know. I would just say things that would come, and whenever I touched somebody, they would always say that they felt a warm and healing energy. So from a young age that came in, and I come from a lineage of female politicians and female healers and community leaders. So it was natural in my bloodline, even though I wasn't aware of it at the time. When I was about 7 years old, I remember having an experience at my grandmother's house, because we always used to come to my grandmother's house, all of the children, all of the cousins staying over for the weekend. That was what, you know, that was the foundation I grew up on. And I remember having a dream, and this dream was a recurrent dream that I would always have, and it would be of me basically underwater, looking at the sun, trying to reach to the sun, but being dragged down. It was only later in my life that I realized, or I was shown when I went to Ghana for one of my initiations, that showed that I was a daughter of Mami Wata. So my connection with the ancestors and my connection with the Creator was very present from a young age. When I woke up from that dream, I was scared, right? And so I saw a picture of my great grandmother on the wall. I've never met her. And to me, she winked at me, you know, and when she winked, I just felt this connection with her. And then as the weeks went on, I started to see her in my vision, and she would tell me things. She would teach me stuff about herbs. She would tell me things to help people, you know, and she would help me understand more of my gift. So she was my first spirit guide. And because of the conditions that I was kind of living in, and I'll speak about that in a bit, I was a child that was very curious. I loved to read. I loved to write. You know, I just was always in that space. So having this, what people might call an imaginary friend, but for me, that was my great grandmother. You know, she would teach me things. She would share things with me about my family history. And she also told me some things that then helped me understand some of the things that I would later go through. So I've been through sexual abuse, spiritual abuse, a lot of different things, neglect, a lot of things as a child. But for me, I knew that I was going to go through the sexual abuse. I had a dream when I was about 7.5 years old, and I saw in this dream that this person that I lived with was going to do something to me. But I was shown that I was also protected, and that my reason for coming was to speak out, because I was also shown at that moment that it happened to my mum as well. And it doesn't make it any easier that you know something is going to happen, even though I didn't look for it or didn't take it on. And it did happen when I was 8 years old, which was the first level of the sexual abuse that I had with my stepfather. So when it happened, I spoke to my mum and I said to her, look, this is what happened, da 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 da. And the way that she looked at me, I just saw her whole soul crumble behind her face. And that was the first time that I learned and understood that humans didn't really like hearing the truth, right? Yeah. And in a way, it shut down my throat chakra. Even though I knew that that was what I was here to do, I even said to her, I know it happened to you. Again, she had never told anyone. So obviously, now I understand all of that trauma being chucked at you by a child. It's difficult to go through. But I was just clear that that was my purpose and that was what I was here for. So that carried on for the next 8 years till I was 16. But even how that happened, it taught me a lot. Let's put it that way. It taught me a lot about what I was here to do, which was to help women to heal. So I went through a lot of challenges that women face very early on in age, because on a soul level, I knew that that was part of what I was here to do. So I had to go through those things in order to be able to clear it. I was spiritually abused, so people could see my gift and they would take me to churches, and, you know, people would put their hands on me and try and put their negative energy into me. But the connection that I had with the Creator was so intimate that, you know, I was able to channel that energy without even consciously knowing. I've always been engaged in spirituality, always been connected. I loved religion. I wanted to be a Jew at one point. I investigated all religions, and I found a place within them all, but I didn't find the same God in the way that I knew God. The way that I knew God was very intimate. If I'd have a bad day, I'd lie down on my bed and I'd look up to my ceiling and I'd have a conversation, a dialogue with the Creator. So I was looking for that and I couldn't find it. One of the things that used to happen to me whenever I'd go through any of the abuse, and the abuse was training. Some of it was sexual, but a lot of it was physical as well. So I had a very resilient spirit, and I wouldn't fight back because I was a very respectful person. But what it cultivated in me was this warrior spirit. And what would happen was whenever something traumatic would happen, I would see myself project out of my body. And because I understood from a soul level why it was happening, and it was happening for a purpose, I was also allowed to observe it. And that's what helps me to help other women to deal with their trauma, to go into that space of being the observer and being able to detach enough from it to understand what it was that you needed to learn there, why you chose it on a soul level, and be a part of the change by creating choice. We inherit legacies from our ancestors, things that, especially silence and abuse, these are things that we've inherited from our ancestors, and many of us are going through some of these things so that we can be the change. But again, you have to go through it in order to be able to overcome it, so to speak. So that was my kind of journey into spirituality. Even my grandmother, she would teach me stuff about you know, the ancestors and orishas and stuff like that, because my mother's family is from Trinidad. So they hold the culture of, they call it spiritual Baptist, but it is a very strong African tradition which holds the orishas and all of these kind of things. So growing up as a child, even though they did try to hide a lot of things from us, I was always being shown everything. And the reason why I had to go through a lot of those things, my great-grandmother told me, was because in my lineage, we'd always had healers. And with my mother and my grandmother, they both turned away from that power. So what happened was our family started to have effects because of it. And one of the main effects was that with my grandmother, she didn't raise her children and she only had girls. And with those girls, all of them had womb problems. So at the age of, my mum was 25 when she basically was diagnosed with fibroids and had her womb taken out. And I remember nursing her, and I would be able to feel her energy and feel her pain. And something clicked in me. Because I loved medicine, I wanted to be a gynecologist. Something clicked in me. It was like, hang on a minute. Why is this happening? Why are we not given other options? Why is my mom going through this at such a young age in her life? And that's when I started to learn more about how the body responds to trauma, whether it's a mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, how the body responds to trauma. And so understanding that a lot of the trauma that she went through was still suppressed in her womb, and also in her emotionally. And it started me on my journey of really wanting to get deep into gynecology. So when I was 16, I went to Guy's and St. Thomas's Hospital, to the gynecology department, and spoke to them about my passion for wanting to especially help learn more about how to help Black women, do you know what I mean, with this fibroid issue. So they gave me a job as a clinic clerk in the gynecologist department, and I spent about 3 years there. Whilst I was there, I took the Depo-Provera once and was then rendered infertile. So this began my journey of real healing, because I had to heal myself. They told me that I couldn't have any children because the way that the polycystic ovaries had become so overactive due to the Depo-Provera, my ovaries were literally stifled. And that's also symbolic of emotions that are suppressed. When you can't release something, it becomes hard and it fills with pus, it becomes a cyst. And so that's where I started to understand the emotional connection, the fact that I had suppressed what it was that I needed to express, and kind of just was moving as if not it didn't happen, but that it was something I had to keep to myself. It was now impacting on my body. And also the Depo-Provera, as much as a child they tell you, okay, go on the pill and do this, it was mashing up my body, and I only did it once. So basically that started me on my journey of healing. I started to work on myself emotionally. I started to get inspiration from my grandmother of certain herbs that I should take. And I was on a journey of self-healing. And within 2 years, I had my first child, and then went on to have 5. So that was, again, preparing me to know how to help women to start transforming their energy on all levels and bring healing to their body. Because the things that we experience, especially as Black women, the fibroids, the endometriosis, that's all emotional, generational cursing energy. And we're here to clear it by being changed, but we inherit it through our legacy. And when you look at gynecology, the whole gynecology study was developed from Black women that they had in slavery. They used to chop them up, they used to put things inside their wombs, they used to do all of that. So all of this trauma is still inside of us, you know, and that sparked my purpose, I suppose. Even though I work in with spirituality and mental health and everything on the whole, I had a personal connection with the womb wellness and the womb healing, and utilizing some of our ancestral knowledge, and combining that with traditional medicine and the holistic approach, looking at the mental, emotional, spiritual, physical, ancestral, and then quantum, because you've chosen to come in with this. But we have to go through the process of healing ourselves, understanding that trauma, purging the body, undoing everything that's been done so that we can be in a space of optimal health. And when we do that, we're not just doing it for us, we're doing it for our whole lineage, because every drop of blood that you have has your whole lineage's DNA and information within it. So even when we look at the ancestors and we look at them as something outside of ourselves, no, it's inside that piece of blood. That drop of blood holds all of that information. So that again was my journey into specializing with women's wellness. Should I carry on? do you want to
Listen, you're literally answering all the questions that I have written down, but I'm here for it. I love it. I'm literally here for it. Like that, what you just said to me spoke to me and resonated with me so much. It just resonated so much with everything that you said, and I'm so grateful for your transparency on our platform. Like, it takes so much, like you said, you you're now able to just observe the situation. It's like you've kind of taken yourself away from the actual experience of the emotional side, and now you're able to just observe and understand the whole creation of what is going on and your purpose, which I just think is so beautiful and amazing. What really stuck out to me was when you were speaking about your what you was about, just a bit about your knowledge when you was younger, when you was a younger child, and just how you experienced a lot of things before it even happened, or you kind of had different channelings through before it even happened, and how, you know, your mother kind of necessarily hid that knowledge from you because of your tender age, and how does that now relate back to how you are with your children and the transparency that you have with them?
Yeah. Oh, wow. Well, my children, because of my level of consciousness, they came through me with a certain level of consciousness. The thing is with my family, it wasn't that they didn't want us to know. They turned their backs on the culture. And so there were repercussions for that. Whereas I came into this bloodline to breathe, be the change and resurrect that. I mean, I go back to the West Indies. I went back to Trinidad this year to do some ancestral healing for my family. You know, clearing some of the things and just bringing some healing, because that's what I'm here to do. But with my children, I saw every one of them before they came in dreams. So I knew when they were coming, I knew what they wanted to be called. And even though, because it's on two levels, on one level, I fully understood and I was here for it. But I still went through some trauma because I hadn't really had a childhood. I was looking after my brothers and sisters. I was working from the age of 12, like working, like paper round, everything I could do, I was doing it because I wanted to make sure that my brothers and sisters were good, because my parents weren't in that position where
Are you the
they were
oldest?
But yeah, I'm the oldest. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Um, I witnessed a lot of domestic violence and all of that kind of stuff. So from a very early age, I was the mother and the protector to my brothers and sisters. So I literally was working from I was 12. I got my own flat, like properly got my own flat, no council help when I was 16. Do you know what I mean? And then I went through things where I even had to give up my flat for my family because they didn't have anywhere to go. So for me, I was always on this journey of giving up myself for others. So I still, even though I had the children and I knew that they were coming, I have to be honest, I found it difficult because I felt like I hadn't yet lived. I hadn't yet done anything. All I was doing was dealing with trauma, going through things. And do you know what I mean? So as much as on a spiritual level, on a soul level, I knew that they were coming, a part of me still had to come to grips with that whilst they were here, because I needed to grow and mature. You know, I got married I got with my partner when I was 21 years old, and, you know, got married and was with him up until 36. So I was very much still in that kind of environment. And he was the same star sign as my stepfather. So same energy that I was going through, I had to overcome that. So there were a lot of things that were going on at the same time. I inherited the domestic violence. I had to go through all of that. But at the same time, because of the awareness that I had of myself and because of my understanding of why my children were coming through me, I was able to use that as a way to process and go through what I needed to go through so that they would have a different experience. I had no choice but to be honest with them. And I always talk to them from a space of knowing who their souls are. Like, my children are very aware of who their souls are. You know, their names are Osiris and Isis and Nephthys. They know who they are. They have that consciousness, obviously, because when they came through me, I was at a certain level of consciousness. So the way that I deal with them, they know who they are. Like Neftis, one of my daughters, she used to have
Yeah.
problems. Like she's very spiritually connected. She would always be having bad nightmares. And she would have bone problems. So I basically Reiki attuned her. So she now does Reiki for herself and her friends. My son,
Mm.
he is literally born on the day of the Sirius New Year. His name is Osiris. He is literally, he thinks like a king. And it's
Mm.
not, that's not in the ego sense, because I'm still here to help him learn how to balance his divinity with his humanity. I
Mm.
understand that for my children, I am their guide as well as their parent. You know, I went through abuse, so I never beat my children. I had to learn how to communicate with them so that they
Yeah.
can also be part of a new generation where people communicate. And I was getting my ass beat in my relationship. So let's be clear, it wasn't. I was still trying to be something better and put better seeds in them while I was still dealing with the generational curses myself.
Yeah.
But as I said again, like I was primed for this, so to speak, from my childhood, and this was the lesson that I had to overcome, and I'm glad to say that I did, because I went through being this person who was divinely guided by source, so in a way submissive to everything that was going on around me, only speak when wisdom is coming out but not really connecting, to now finding my strength. I had to find my inner fighter. I had to learn to love myself. I had to, go through all of those things. Do you know what I mean? Learn to put myself before somebody else, because my perception of what a wife should be is somebody who supports and nurtures her man. But I also, in return, received somebody that tried to dominate me, somebody that, because he had been given so much power, was reflecting the same experiences that I had with my stepfather. So what I'm saying to you is that as much as, yes, I was able to give them a different perception, I had to go through my stuff and show them also how to be
How
change.
to,
Do you understand what
yeah,
I mean? So they have a balanced
absolutely.
perception of life. They know how
Yeah.
they should be treated and how not to be treated, but they also know what happens in life, but they
Mhm.
also know how to deal with it. Sometimes
Absolutely.
it's a lot, because when you've got these young people, these children talking to you with these mature minds, it can be a lot. But I know
Yeah.
that they're prepared for the world, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, I could definitely resonate with what you were saying, because I found that when I was like, my relationship, I had a relationship with somebody that reminded me so much of the relationship that I had with my mother. And like, they're literally the same star sign, and it
See?
literally just paralleled the exact same relationship that I had with my mum. It was such a traumatizing relationship, but such a loving, nurturing one at the same time. And it just reminded me of like that relationship, that exact same relationship, and how it like reoccurred, and how to like break that cycle or still deal with it. Do you get what I mean? So what you were saying really resonated with me. On that, I was also wanted to ask you, because you even spoke about, balancing out your life with your children, and how
Mm.
you how could I explain? You spoke about balancing out your life, going through what you was already going through, and also being that guider for your children. How do you do that in your profession, like with the women that you work with, balancing out your own spiritual growth, your own spiritual development, and balancing that out with also assisting others?
For me, it all starts from within. I can't assist anyone else if I don't assist myself. And it's through those experiences with my children, I had to apply my knowledge to myself. Do you know what I
Mm.
mean? A lot of the training I did was when I was going through a lot of those things, because my gift was natural, but there were passions that I had. So I studied psychotherapy, I
Mm.
studied hypnotherapy, regression therapy, inner child all of these things, spirituality, so I could help myself. And so I help women to understand their journey, be in a space of accountability, which is not about taking on blame at all. It's about acknowledging on a soul level you chose this. And so if you chose this on a soul level, you've got everything within you to overcome it. You just need to understand what the plan was, right?
That is literally my motto, like, God will not give me more than I can bear.
Exactly. And you are God. God is within you as well. So you will not give yourself more than you can bear. Do you know what it is? It's like most people don't understand that it's like we wrote a story. We made an agreement with the creator and we said, okay, we want to come through this particular family. We want to be, you're born on this day. We want to go through this. We're going to do this for humanity, and we're going to do this for our own self-development and growth. And then we come down into this human body and we forget about it all, because at the end of the day, if you do everything, you wouldn't do it. And so that's how our journey becomes. And the formative years, the childhood years, are usually where we go through all of the stuff that we need to go through. That becomes the foundation of what we have to unpack and transform in order to move into our purpose. I always say to people, your trauma plus your triumph equals your purpose, because you can only really help someone from a place of you really helping yourself. And we're moving out of that old paradigm where you can read a book or learn a course and that gives you the mental ability to be able to have transformation for yourself or for others. We're moving into a place of more authentic sharing, you know, where we can only share really and truly from what we've been through. So that's how I guide women. I help them to understand themselves on a soul level. So I do everything from the numerology, which is an ancient numerology called Ankara. So it's not the general Western numerology. I take them through understanding themselves, who it is that they are on a soul level, some of the lessons that they've come here with, some of their gifts. I help them to reconnect to the source, because we, especially as Black women in this time, the power that we have, we've been blocked out of history in terms of being able to even understand the power that we have within us, naturally dormant within us. And it's our purpose and duty to cultivate that energy. A lot of us are coming through at the moment with some of this trauma and stuff so that we can clear it out the way and get back to our power. And this is not about, women being in power and men being subjugated. No, the only way to oneness is through that union. But you cannot have harmony with anything outside of yourself if you don't have harmony within yourself. And we as a community are having to reclaim our power and return back to our rightful positions. But that happens within ourselves first. So we have to get grounded in who we are. We have to learn to be secure and safe within ourselves. And that's why we've got a lot of the trauma, because we're here to reestablish the right way of alignment within ourselves, to be grounded and supported by nature, understanding the elements within and without, tapped into our sacred feminine power, which is the power of the cosmos, which is the power of creation, our intuition. When we're looking at leadership, because this is something I'm really passionate about, divine feminine leadership, women in leadership, because it's a different kind of leadership, and it doesn't necessarily mean even woman. I look at it like this. Some of the work that I do, I work with Mind Mental Health Organization. And some of the things that I'm doing there is changing the way we look at management. It's not just about these fake relationships with people where I'm the employer, you're the employee. It's about investing in people's lives so that people can talk to you, so that you can be invested in motivating people and understanding that people need to be supported and balanced. Those are feminine mindsets. When we look at government and things like that, there's so much feminine mindsets that can come into play to bring balance, but we cannot really step into those roles unless we bring that balance in ourselves. But as I said, we have everything within us to do it. We as a community as well, there's so much healing that needs to be done, but there's no point looking at the healing of the collective without looking at the healing for yourself, because one drop of the ocean contains the same information, the same contents of the whole ocean. So when we choose to work on ourselves, then that has an effect through our DNA. But, that's the time that we're in right now. So I help them to really get present with their own story. I help them to tap into their authentic power, not the image that we put out to the world. Who are you really? Who are you before you lost your voice? And I help people to women to get their voice again, so that ultimately we can have harmonious relationships with ourselves, our partners, our children. Do you know what I mean? But I put a post out the other day, and it said that the nation can rise only as far as its women. And for me, yeah, we are the key, you know, to bringing balance in the home and bringing balance in the world, because the world is the home. And so even the ancestral legacy that I work with, and for me, going into African spirituality a little bit, I didn't go looking for anything. It came to me. Yemaya came to me through my dreams, and I was doing a lot of singing. That's another thing that I do. I do a lot of singing and tonal work. And that's where I developed that connection with her. You know, the ancestral mothers I work with now. If you see that there's an ancient mother there. I went to Africa, to got Elmina Castle, and did some healing and some ceremonies by myself and with one other sister for our ancestral mothers, for the women that went through that purgatory, because we have to deal with the foundation first. And when I came out of there, this man gave me this picture, another symbol and sign that this is the work that I'm here to do. You know what I mean? So we have to start inside and start doing the work, knowing that we can, knowing that there isn't anything wrong with us, knowing that you are a divine being that's chosen this powerful mission of coming through here. We have to connect. We have to start to love our feminine aspect, and we have to love our masculine aspect. A lot of us didn't have our fathers around, so our perception of masculinity is in a way warped, and we can't have proper relationships with our partners because we don't have the proper relationship with the masculine in ourselves. The masculine is out of balance. It's in protection mode. It's in angry mode. And it's not saying that we don't have the right to be angry, but it's about internalizing that, really understanding where that anger comes from, dealing with that within ourselves, and marrying those two aspects within ourselves first, so that when we come together with somebody, we can truly unify. It's all about oneness within and oneness externally. But the work is, for me, I always say to everyone, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. Because every time you set a goal and you reach that goal, you set another goal, right? So it really is about that journey. Enjoy the journey. Even dealing with your shadow work. For me, it's like when things come up now, I see it as an invitation for me to clear something or to get closer to the truth of who I am, to remove some skin. Do you understand what I mean? So we can't be afraid of those things, and having that awareness that you've chosen it and that you are the divine and that you have everything within you to transform that, and having that observer's perspective or having someone hold space for you to do that is all part of our healing. And so I work a lot within the subconscious realm. I take people in. Shame. Sorry, I take people into themselves. I allow them to revisit those experiences and see a different perception and understand it from the spiritual first. And I've seen women go through instant transformations in sessions with me, because I know how to do what I do, and I'm only reconnecting you back to the power within you and holding space for you to transform what you know you came to do. You know, we all have similar wounds. And whether it's us as melanated women or our divine feminine counterparts in any race, we all have an effect on each other. But if we are the seed, if we are the source, and the source is not knowing of who she is, and the source is not in her full power, and the source is asking her children to give to her and she's not giving to herself, then we've got a problem. You know? So, yeah. I'm here for it. I really am. We are in a powerful time.
I love that. I think that that is so important, like to go away and do that shadow work and expose yourself to what is really your real purpose. Like you said, like sometimes we come off with what is face value and what we think is our purpose, and how we idolize this like humanity with, do you get what I mean, and in the society that we live in. But realistically, it's about that real purpose, and like you said, finding that voice that we once lost and connecting ourselves back to our ancestral work and really grounding ourselves in, especially in this day and age with everything that's going on around us. It's so hard to connect, but that is so important. I'm just loving, you're just dropping gems. You're just dropping gems. You've thrown me off with questions. I'm just here for it. I'm here for it. But I did want to speak a little bit about the awakening experience, because I know that I've heard so much experiences with people talking about their awakening shift and how they and you spoke about when you were 30 and how that kind of rebirthed you you into a new realm for you. I just wanted to speak about like that shift. Obviously, you can speak from your own point of view, own perspective, but just in general, because I've heard so much stories regarding like people's personal shift and how they have been awakened, and what is your kind of definition of awakening, because there's also so many different understandings. It's like what dimension are you speaking about?
Awakening is really about having a journey, beginning a journey into understanding more of who you are. Really, that's it. And it can come in different ways. It can be a spiritual awakening, which is where you just have this natural desire to start learning and investigating your path, or you can have a spiritual emergency, which is where something triggers you, something goes wrong in your life that now triggers you on this journey of having to go deeper within yourself and to ask questions. I always say that the quickest initiation, or the most important initiation, is the initiation into knowledge of self. And there are many different things that can shift you into that journey. The first thing to do is ask. Is when you start asking questions. When you break down the word question, quest I on. The question is what leads you to knowing. And so when we get to a point in our life where we start to question things, that's what really is called the awakening. When you start understanding that, and try looking at life in a different way and wanting to know more about who you are. Because there's so many different levels to this thing. There's so many different levels to what it means to be God in the flesh, and all of the different the spiritual aspects of us. The world is going through an awakening now. Many of us have been going on, our personal awakenings and small collective awakenings, but the world is going through an awakening now because what's happened, and it's a spiritual emergency too, because it's happened through trauma and tragedy. The world is we're basically being aware of or opening up to a different level of reality that was always playing underneath. And there's different ways of being able to describe this. So some people call it moving from 3D to 5D. And if you're going to look at it like that, the 3D realm is where we are bound by everything. We think that everything is fixed, but everything is not fixed, okay? And quantum physics shows you that. These are vibrating atoms, but the level of consciousness that we are looking at the world on is based on the material things, right? The fourth dimension is what we're shifting through now, because it's the mental realm and it's the shadow realm. Okay, so the mental realm and the shadow realm, we're moving through and revealing all of the things that were hidden, whether it's our prejudices, whether it's how the government move or how organizations move. We're basically having an awakening to seeing the underbelly of human consciousness right now. And that's going to shift us into the fifth dimension, which is the vibrational frequency of love, but not just love, authenticity, living from your soul, unity, consciousness. So that's one of the easiest ways of being able to describe it. But the world is going through an awakening so that we can start to upgrade our perception and awareness of what it means to be in this physical body. So let's look at let's just look at the 5G for a minute. Much as the world is looking at it like, oh, shock, horror, on another level, it's made people very aware of their energy system and how frequencies can affect them. People are going and getting shungite, they're getting crystals, they're starting to understand that they are vibratory beings. So that's awakening their consciousness. When we look at the Maximes, I want to call them, it's now getting people to question it, because how many thousands and millions of people took those, gave them to their children without questioning? That's another thing that I want to talk about, because that's what helped me to move into my purpose. So I was threatened with having my children taken away from me because I didn't give them the Maximes. And I mean literally to the courts, social services, all of these things. And what it prompted me to do was I started to study shamanic homeopathy and look for traditional recognized ways of being able to immunize my children. And what I did was I created a dossier and presented it to the judge, explaining to him all of the different ingredients that are inside of these injections, right? To the point where the judge said, if I'd have given it to my children, then I would have been neglectful. Now, at that time, lots of people stopped talking to me. My family is looking at me like, are you crazy? But look at the world now, and people are questioning these things. Something that people was just blindly taking before, they're now starting to say, hang on a minute, I don't need that. Or what is this about? So do you see how what it's doing? Exactly. It's awakening our consciousness. Whatever's happening in America with the presidency, it's showing you that what used to happen and what was going on wasn't the right thing. Now we're looking at all different things. People are learning different things. So we are going through a collective awakening and a paradigm shift. which is really about how we understand our reality and ourselves as human beings or light beings or divinity in the flesh. So awakening takes place on different levels, and it's really about helping you to navigate your way into a new understanding of your reality and your ability to impose on your reality as well, you know, and create the reality that you want to see. So that for me is the most basic way of looking at the awakening, because there's so many people that say all these buzzwords, but really the tangibility of it, it's awakening and asking questions and looking at the world in a different place, asking the questions and seeking the truth.
Yeah.
So for me, that's what it is. A lot of people say they're woke, but they're asleep, because it's actually not about who's read the most books or who can say they're conscious or not conscious. It's about applied wisdom and knowledge. It's about applied wisdom and knowledge.
I've been saying that for a very long time, because I'm very I've grown up in a Rasta household, so I've just been like, I've taken in so much knowledge from what I've been raised on through my mum and my dad, and just the community as well. And I can see the difference, like between like being woke and applying the wisdom and knowledge that you actually have. Like I can see the actual work being transformed in so much different ways through people, through how they speak, through how they act, and all these type of things. Some people just have a certain vibration that you can sense that they are applying the wisdom that they have through their experiences or whatever it is. I think that's, for me, I can definitely relate with just doing the real work. I always say, when I think of you, I saw a post on your page. It was like when I first started following you, and I think in the caption was about real healers. You're speaking about the importance of real healers, and I was like, that right there just said it a lot for me, because it's so easy saying you're a healer. It's so easy, you know, and like tapping into that, which is amazing. But also, like you said, if you can only give what you have to provide for yourself as well. So I think that's definitely
facts
good.
And more facts.
Gosh, a little bit. I have two questions. Obviously, this is a platform for Black women. I just want, and you did touch base on so much things that I already thought about to ask you, but just in terms of collective healing for Black women, what is it that you find is most common in Black women that we need to kind of tap within ourselves to either collective heal or do our own deep healing? What is it that you...
We have to learn to understand our emotions, give a voice to our pain, but in the right environments and spaces, so that we can actually do the healing work on ourselves. We need to develop our sense of self-worth. And I don't say these things in any way to say, oh, this is what you need to do. I'm saying it purely from knowing the path, and also the women that come to me. Knowing our value, knowing our value and who it is that we really are, being willing to deal with our trauma, knowing already that we are powerful, perfect, whole and complete. Because a lot of our sisters, we've been suppressed, we've been neglected, we've been through all of those things. So sometimes we look for the world to love us, and we still don't have the capacity to love ourselves. We need to learn to trust each other, because we are part of each other's healing. You know, we need to develop a better connection with our bodies, because our bodies hold our age, our spiritual power, especially our wombs. We as women, and especially Black women, we're born with a certain power called age, which only women have. And we've been omitted from a lot of spiritual practices because of that power that we have. We have the power to both create and destroy. Do you understand what I mean? And so when we are imbalanced, the things around us are imbalanced, our families are imbalanced, our communities are imbalanced, our men are imbalanced, taking up positions that they may not even be ready for. Because at the end of the day, the first nurturer, the first teacher is the mother, and within you, you have the mother in you. So we have to learn to, you know, reconnect back with that part of us, and learn to take the throne within our own being, because then we can stand in a position of personal power and authority, and not seek to not come over as dominating because we want to be heard, but we've heard ourselves. You understand what I mean? And we want to now allow us our best foot to step forward. We have to understand the power that's within us. We have to love ourselves and love each other, and we have to be committed to that healing, because No matter how much we run away from it, it's still going to continue. And I know, first and foremost, we want love. We want to be seen for who we are. We don't always want to be, you know, struggling. We don't always want to be seen as the bottom of the pile. But we can't expect the world to see us, love us, and respect us if we're not willing to do that for ourselves. And I know many people might have said it, but I'm speaking from my own experience and the issues that I'm dealing with when women come to me, you know. And we are queens and we are empresses and we are, you know, all of these powerful things, but we have lost that awareness of ourselves, for ourselves, in ourselves. And so it is about us doing the healing, but not from a position of acting as if we're broken, but just understanding that we are part of mending the solution and creating the solution, you know. And that for me is really important. You know, it's really important because even if we look towards our ancestors, right, no matter what our ancestral mothers went through, they maintained, you know, we were their prayers. They prayed that for whatever they were doing in that time, we would be the future, we would have a better life, right? And we still carry that within us, but we also carry everything within us to transform that energy. And so when we exalt ourselves, we exalt them. My wish is for Black women to have the love and the power and the peace and, you know, the abundance that they deserve and that they desire and that they require, you know, for them to live a joyful life. And we are moving into the golden age, and that golden age is about abundance. It is about prosperity. So we have to look at it like this is the work that we're doing to prepare us for that. You know, we have light radiating through us. The cosmos is within us. Do you understand what I mean? But that's not some airy fairy spiritual hype up yourself thing. That's, you got to get to the core of that. And that's why we have to do that healing work, because in the core of that is that power. You know, watching our sisters love themselves and exude that love, that care, that compassion, that leadership. That's what I want to see for the world. You know, being in leadership positions, being in governance, being in politics, being in their home, nurturing their and, you know, building partnerships with their males, having beautiful children, enjoying life. That's what's required, but it's not going to come from someone else giving it to us. You know, it's only going to come from us being willing to do the work ourselves. And the golden age is going to go on for at least 4,000 years. So the short work that we've got to do right now to lay the right foundation is nothing in comparison to the abundance that we are going to reap. Everything in the universe moves. Everything has an ebb and a flow. That's the law of rhythm. So for every cycle of down where you're learning about yourself in the lower form, that level of up, you know, where you learn about yourself in the exalted form. And that's where we are right now. We're on the apex of moving into that higher aspect of ourselves. So the foundation is love. The foundation is compassion for ourselves. The foundation is the ability to stay connected to the source and understand who we truly are, to understand that the ancestors are not someone to save us, they're within us. We look to them to remind us of what's in us. We understand that we are the fire, the earth, the air, the waters. We are the intuits. We are the creators. We are the, you know, that is who we are. So let's work through the trauma. And that's one of the gifts that God gave me, to help transform trauma. You know, transform that through the understanding of who it is that you are and allowing yourself to observe the perspective of those experiences and to come into a space of authentic power. Only in that space can we then have balance. We are the foundation, but right now the foundation, we have to go back to the source, and the source is within, and we have all of the support to do that. So for me, that is my wish, that is my purpose, that's my duty. Ultimately, so that we can experience oneness, so that we can feel good in our bodies. You know, our bodies have been abused and mutilated. Some of us are like children in our own selves. As much as we are women and adults, our inner child still need nurturing. So that's why it's good that we do this work now. So especially our daughters, they can come into that knowing, especially seeing that we've gone through it ourselves, that journey of becoming. But, you know, on a collective level, we're all going through that. And we all have something to share with each other, because, as I said, ultimately we're moving into a space of unity. But if, let's say, like a car, right? In order for the car to work, all of the parts have to know themselves and they have to be vibrating at the optimal frequency. If the alternator is not working and doesn't know who it is, then the whole car ain't going to move. If the engine doesn't know who it is and isn't operating, it's not going to move. And so we have to understand that we are, yes, a part of the whole, but we have to focus on me, we have to focus on you as sisters and get ourselves together, because we want change for ourselves and our communities and our families ultimately, you know. So yeah, that's what I would share.
No, Ashe, no, I love that. That is amazing. I think the work that you do is so needed in our community. We need women, strong sisters like you that are fueling this into each other, talking abundance over each other's lives and understanding
Right.
the real work that we actually have to do within, because like you said, it's within us already. It's just finding that core. It's literally about channeling in there and kind of building that relationship with self. So that is important. And what stuck out to me with what you just said as well is two things: is commitment. Commitment is important, because sometimes I find I'm guilty of it myself. Like sometimes I'm on a road and the road is nice and I'm healing, I'm discovering, I'm unlearning, and then you sway and you're back where you were. Do you get what I mean? But it's the consistency. It's literally being committed to your growth. It's finding that there is a greater purpose for what you have to do. And also what stuck out with me is when you were speaking about just the next generation, the younger ones, to kind of see that transition is so important. Because I wish that I kind of experienced that, just see, because by the time my mum had me quite late, so by that time she already had 6 of my siblings, and they probably saw like the transition of her stepping into her higher self and stuff like that. But whereas I felt like I didn't experience that, I didn't really have anyone to really see that. And I think that's important, to be that example for the next generation, to be that example for your own bloodline is really important. So yeah,
Exactly.
thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So I did want to share a poem with you guys before we left. And if you want to open up for some questions for about 15 minutes, I'm open to that as well. But I thought I'd share this poem, obviously bearing in mind the platform that we're on and the audience. So I just wanted to share this. And this was a poem that I channel a lot. So this came to me when I was on my way to an event called the Queen's Conference, actually, and it was for Black women, and I just felt inspired. So I would want to share this, if that's okay.
Absolutely. Yeah? Yes.
Okay, so it says, I am a powerful Black woman, sovereign, majestic, and free, made by the hands of the Creator as a symbol of love, joy, and beauty. I am a powerful Black woman, the mother of creation and royal queen. I hold myself in the highest vibration of great grace, wisdom, and humility. I am a powerful Black woman with magic running through my veins, born from a legacy of kings and queens, and here to continue that legacy and bring change. I am a powerful Black woman with warrior energy in my spirit and blood, born with a kind and compassionate heart to balance my power with love. I am a powerful Black woman. Self-healing is my nature and ultimate goal. As I walk this road of self-discovery, I love and live from the depths of my soul. I am a powerful Black woman, a natural nurturer and healer. Using the herbs, Granny's guidance and intuition, I can cure any cold or fever. I am a powerful Black woman who at times can and will make mistakes. Please forgive me as I grow into my power. Please support me to heal through my pain. I am a powerful Black woman who sometimes feels ugly inside, but I give thanks for the gifts of self-reflection and my beautiful lips, and I just smile. I am a powerful Black woman who also needs love too, but due to the love I give to self and others, someone will always come through. I am a powerful Black woman, a sister, a mother, a friend, someone you can rely on who will be there till the end. I am a powerful Black woman, a queen fit for a king, a partner in love, life, and purpose. As he heals me, I heal him. Oh, I am a powerful Black woman, sexy, sassy, and complete, humble and loving and tender, loving on purpose and on fleek. I am a powerful Black woman, speaking to all my sisters and queens. This life is ours for the making, so let's love ourselves and enjoy each other and live abundantly. Let's be honest with each other. Let's be queens for kings. Let's help build our families and communities, walk with pride, power, and majesty, be the example and the change, and transform all the hurt and the pain. Rise into our sacred power, unfold our beauty like a flower. and shine inside and out. Remove the doubt. Our time is now. I am a powerful Black woman, striving to be the best that I can be. And when I look into the mirror, I'm happy to say that I love being me.
I love that.
Yes, to all the queens. Yes, to all the queens.
I love that. Ashe, ashe, ashe. I love that. That is literally beautiful. That is beautiful. Cool. You write beautifully. That's amazing.
Thanks.
Where can we find that? Have you recorded that anywhere? We need to hear it more.
I had a snippet on my YouTube, but I'm definitely going to record it and put it out there. I've got a few things on my YouTube, especially I've got Divine Feminine Healing Meditation, which is really good for helping us to get connected with our energy centers and with our trauma. And there's a snippet of that on there. But like empowering others, you know, to see themselves. I also have my book, 12 Seeds to Awaken Your Spirit, which is a powerful workbook that I wrote when I was 30, well, a month before my 33rd birthday. When I was in meditations, God said to me, that I should create something that I can leave a legacy of everything that I've learned so far to help others on their journey. And so it includes a lot of my channeled poems, but really it's a workbook based on 12 different areas of our life that we need to get understanding about. And it's also got information in there, and it's also got opportunities for you to do some self-work, you know, meditations, questions, that good stuff. So if you else, I can send you a copy. And if anyone wants to purchase a copy, they can contact me for that.
Yes, we need that. We definitely need that. We need your nurturing and wisdom. That's amazing. If anyone wants any questions, please drop some questions down below. We've had an amazing conversation. And yeah, I would just like to know, where can we find all this amazing information about you? Where's the best place to book you for any like personal services? What are you comfortable with? Because some people are not social media, but let us know.
So my website and everything is going through an upgrade at the moment because I'm expanding. So you can find me on Instagram, Amenti the Awakener, YouTube, Amenti the Awakener. If you go on my Instagram bio, you can get a link to my link tree, which will give you access to videos, access to my online course, because I have an online course for my book. And I'm also doing a membership that will be starting next year at the end of January for women especially. And one of the first programs that we're going to be doing in there is called Embracing Your Majesty. So helping us to go through a journey of dealing with our trauma, getting rooted in our power, awakening our sacred sexuality, clearing our voice. Because I realized that, you know, a lot of the women that come to me, they're willing to make that investment, and I'm thankful for that. But when you find a lot of women coming with the same issues, for me, it makes more sense to now create the container so that we can support each other in that healing.
Yeah.
And anyone who's been on any of my courses or any of my classes knows that I share a lot of wisdom, and I give my time, I make myself available, especially when I'm in that space. So that might be something that people are interested in. And if so, you can send me an email at amentitheawakenerofficial@gmail.com. That's amentitheawakenerofficial@gmail.com. Or you can drop me a DM, and my mailing list is also in that link tree as well. So those are the best ways of getting in contact with me. And you can do bookings from there as well. The book is available on Amazon if you want to get it. But if you want a signed copy, then you can send me a DM, and I usually will channel a message for you, or also draw like different sigils and stuff, so I can send that to you with the book. So
you are phenomenal. You are amazing. We are so grateful for you. Oh my gosh.
Oh, bless you,
I felt so emotional throughout this whole life, but I was like, you clearly ain't gonna cry today.
No need.
You are so
You're with your sister. You're with a reflection of yourself, and you know that's how it is for me. I understand that being on this platform and, you know, doing this work, people can see you in an elevated position, and I receive that. but I also like people to know that, you know, I'm my authentic self, the same way I am. I live this. It's not something I decided to learn and do for the internet. I live this. This is who I am. So, you know, my passion is my purpose, and it's my life. So I'm open to people. I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I get very overwhelmed. Like, I get a lot of messages. That's why I'm expanding, you know, trying to build a team now so that I can be supported to help more people. But yeah, I'm just passionate about people, so do get looking, or if you would like to go for the membership program and courses that are going to be starting next year. And we're looking to go to Egypt next year as well. I'm trying to get a feminine group of female energies to go to Egypt for next year to do some soul work over there. So yeah, I'm here for it. Someone had a question.